A bad crash at Unadilla allowed Grant Langston to cut Travis Pastrana's lead in half. Can Pastrana prevent the tenacious South African from regaining the 125 points lead? Ricky Carmichael continues to march toward his second consecutive 250 championship. Last year, he finished out the season with 6 consecutive wins. He now has won 4 races. Hello, everybody. Art Eckman along with Davey Coombs and David Bailey from Troy, Ohio for round 8 of the Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championships. While Ricky Carmichael dominates the 250 scene, the 125s at the gate now awaiting their first moto have taken a dramatic turn. Travis Pastrana's last lap crash cuts his points lead in half and raises questions about his health.
You know, right now I passed through all the doctors, everything, and I feel really good, so hopefully I haven't ridden all week, obviously, but should go out there, practice some starts today in practice, and then go out and hopefully be okay for the race. Get 2 good starts and should be able to hold my own.
Travis's problems have created opportunity for Grant Langston and Mike Brown. Down to the gate, and Davey.
Well, it's another hot one here at Kenworthy. The riders are starting to call this place the furnace because it seems like it's always 100 degrees and a lot of humidity. And this year, that's going to hurt Travis Pastrana. After last week's big get-up at Unadilla, Travis comes in with a concussion. He tried to keep cool all week. He told me top 10 is the best he can probably hope for, but you never know with Travis. But check it out. Lined up next to him, number 100, Mike Brown. And we've seen before that whenever those 2 guys get together off the start, they can get funny in a hurry. And one other thing, check this out over here. Number 111, Grant Langston on the other side of the box. As we've seen at Redbud and we saw at Southwick, when these 3 guys get together off the start, things get exciting and interesting right off the bat.
Number 111, the challengers. We take a look at the Suzuki point standings. Travis Pastrana leads by 22 points in front of Langston. Mike Brown in third, 44 back, but he is riding very well.
Tell you who else is riding well, Larry Ward. Until that second moto crash at Unadilla, he's been on a roll.
On the Suzuki starting grid, Pastrana with 2 wins on the year, Langston with 2 victories, Brown has 1 and 4 podiums, and Larry Ward on the comeback after sitting out the Supercross season has 1-1 at Redbud. As we take a look at the rest of the starting grid here today, Damon Huffman, a former winner right here at Troy, Ohio. Steve Lapson, a 2-time 125 winner on this track. Roderick Tane back in the lineup for Team Suzuki. Billy Payne, you see him, number 20 right there. Billy is coming back after a long injury. He was injured in Atlanta in the Supercross in practice, and he's coming back from a shoulder separation. It popped out again in practice, but he popped it back in and qualified, winning his qualifier. Also, Shea Bentley, the former regional Supercross champion, is trying to get strong once again. It is hot and humid here in Troy, Ohio, David.
They're trying to get their tires hot. It's already hot and humid outside. It's the guys from back east that are used to the humidity that really perform well here during like the last 10 minutes of the race. Guys from California really struggle. They try to come in early to combat that, but still, it's tough if you don't live in humidity to really make the adjustment.
Nathan Ramsey, Yamaha of Troy, and Langston right near the doghouse as the 30-second board is up. When it goes sideways, the gate will drop within 5 to 10 seconds. Pastrana against Brown. Let's see who gets the jump. A wheelie by Pastrana. He had to let off, David, as they go for the hole shot, and it looks like Greg Schnell again got the advantage in the hole shot early, but Sellards takes over the lead.
Look at Pastrana over there to the left, swinging out wide. I don't know how he got up that far. He was almost last going into the corner.
Number 18 on the KTM, Brock Sellards. He's got lots of challenges right behind him. Roderick Tane for 1 in his first race back from injury. Also Brown, Ramsey, even Steve Lapson a good start in front of Pastrana.
Look at Brown go for the triple. Ramsey was only able to double it. And Schnell dropping all the way behind that lead group. Had the hole shot but couldn't hold the inside and really paid the price.
Lots of close action. No one is breaking away right now as Sellards can feel Tane right behind him. Tane had a good season going before he got injured.
And he has a good moto going right now. Now here's the layout. There's no elevation here. Everything man-made. They've done an excellent job to make this an exciting and fun racetrack for the riders. I never raced here. This is the Dirty Dozen, and Davey's going to be our expert today.
Coming in, Dirty Dozen. Got it that time, nice. Once you get up on top, I think you guys should bounce through as many as you can. I didn't bounce through too many. Up on top, a little rest. Before we get to the famous part, the Widowmaker. Not as hard as it was last year. Still, that was a very clean jump. You gotta be careful on that. Big bump on the bottom, up around the S-turn. Hanging up on the jump shift. Most guys can tip out of that. Not carrying my weight enough. A lot of supercross obstacles, but very easy supercross obstacles.
A track they made out of a cornfield, so all those obstacles are man-made. Very much like Supercross, and you can tell number 32, Roderick Tane, who became proficient at Supercross on the 125s, is now challenging Brock Sellards for first place here in the first 125 Moto. Tane, number 32, makes a clean pass, and a new leader.
Just out break Sellards going into that corner. I think Sellards thought he had it covered, and Tane right down the inside, a little bit more aggressive. I don't think Sellards can really relax at this point. He's got Brown coming fast. He didn't have too much trouble in the Supercross either. Corner speed there was the impressive thing, and timing here isn't as important as it is indoors. Like Davey said, the Supercross obstacles are there, but they're not quite as difficult as what you see indoors. And take a look at this. Sellards already led off. You can see the Tane looks a lot more aggressive right there. You can't tell what they're doing with the brakes and the clutch because they got those hand guards on, but hard on the brakes, still able to get into that inside line for the pass.
Tane with 2 podiums earlier in the season before his injury. A third in round 2 and another third place in round 3. Then a big crash in round 4. Here comes Browning. This guy is all business. He is very focused after coming over from Europe. Round to the inside for second place. Here comes Brock Sellards back again. Oh, and the Dirty Dozen, it's back and forth.
That was pretty clever by Sellards to get right back in there and take advantage. Now Brown had a good idea. Sellards left the door open. Brown got right in there, made the pass, but he couldn't hold his line through the dozen and gave it back up.
An exciting start with Grant Langston in 5th and Pastrana in back of him. We'll be right back with Roderick Tane in the lead. Welcome back. It's the 8th round of the Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championships 125 action opening moto. Brock Sellards in second place behind number 32, Roderick Tane of France on the Team Suzuki. But Brown, Mike Brown, number 100 on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. He's almost up the tailpipe of Brock Sellards, makes the pass, but can Brock come back? He goes to the inside rut. Brown just got a little bit more quickness. Now bar to bar we go. A great battle for second place. Mike Brown in second behind Roderick Tane, and now it's Brock Sellards once again. Boy, you blink and you've got a new man in second place.
The guy with the best view is right there on the 4-stroke. Ramsey waiting for these guys to take each other out and just make his job a lot easier.
Great crowd on hand here at Troy, Ohio.
Brown has been the bully of this class. He's been bossing everybody around, moving them wide, and Sellards is taking it to him. But Brown looks like he gets the last one right there.
Number 28, Nathan Ramsey, Yamaha of Troy, is back there in 4th.
I admire Sellards for getting up in there and fighting with Brown. You can see it in his eyes before the start. This guy is so focused.
He was a winner here last year, Brock Sellards.
Starting to pull away a little bit now. I think he finally got through that battle, and now he's solid in second. Oh, beautiful. Look at the way Brown, he lets the rear wheel touch that middle one on purpose to hop him over the triple.
Davey?
Steve, after going back and forth a little bit with Sellards, Mike's got second. Do you think he'll go after Tane right away?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he will. Mike's just want to get out in the front there and try and pull a gap between him and the rest of the riders behind him.
What do you think of the track this week? How did Mike say it's set up?
Yeah, I mean, Mike liked the track. It was tacky this morning, lots of ruts. It's the sort of going Mike likes.
Mike Brown coming back from 2 seasons in Europe, a new and improved rider. He really resurrected his career.
What I like about him now, he's always been fast, Art, but it's the focus. You know, and there's so much intensity. He's a lot like Carmichael in the 250 class. He just is not happy unless it's a runaway. Watch this move on Sellards. Sellards makes a little bit of a mistake, helps him get to the inside, but I have a feeling he was going to muscle his way in there anyway. Kind of surprised he didn't jump that plateau. He might have known that Sellards was going to try to cut underneath him. He didn't want to over jump that and go too wide again. Sellards had already got him back like that once.
Brown's next target, Roderick Tane. You can see in the picture there in the upper part of the screen. He's about 1.5 seconds in front of Mike Brown as Ramsey now starts to pull up on third place in Brock Sellards. Number 28 there on the Yamaha.
I wouldn't count Ramsey out of this battle just yet for the win. He's been studying everything that Brown is doing. Brown's going fast, but he's not really getting away from Ramsey. And think about Ramsey, Yamaha Troy. This is not far, this racetrack, from Yamaha Troy. If there's one race they want to win on the season, it's here.
Yeah, it's just down the highway a bit. That adrenaline really starts running when you get your sponsors looking at all the important people there.
You see Langston going by, then Travis. Travis did a great job of preserving what looked like a terrible start, but he really hasn't gone anywhere since then. He's been pretty much stuck back there, running about the same pace these guys are, catching up, but slowly.
Well, like Davey reported from the gate, he's just trying to work himself into this race.
The way he left that second moto at the last race at Unadilla wasn't pretty. And I think there was some concern as to how many times he's hit his head this year, and he may not be quite all there. Remember Ryan Hughes after that crash in Southwick? He wasn't very aggressive at Budds Creek the next race.
We've got a battle for first place and a battle for third place right here. Nathan Ramsey against Brock Sellards. Ramsey with a great leap that time. The 4-stroke versus the 2-stroke from KTM.
Well, I've said it before, and it still looks like, I don't think I've seen any change. The KTM looks just as potent as that YZF 250.
And two, very little elevation change on this track where that 4-stroke really grabs.
Well, the other thing too is it looks like Ramsey just got around the outside. I can't believe Sellards allowed that. He had the inside, he controlled it, and Ramsey was just that much more aggressive to get around it.
Nathan Ramsey showing some fine riding skills, moving into third place. We'll be right back to Troy, Ohio after this. Welcome back to the 8th round of U.S. Motocross from Troy, Ohio. This is our opening moto of the 125s. Roderick Tane in the lead, but now he's got some pressure from the Pro Circuit Kawasaki of Mike Brown as they go by the mechanics area. Maybe some trouble. Let's go down to the mechanics area to Davey Coombs. What about Ramsey?
Guys, there's John Mitchell. That's Nate Ramsey's mechanic. You can see him counting off the riders. We are expecting Nathan Ramsey to come around right behind Mike Brown, but he hasn't. Apparently, he has gone down hard in the middle of the track.
John Mitchell experiencing a lot with Nathan Ramsey, like the Regional Supercross Championship in 1999. As we switch to the lead, Mike Brown puts the challenge to Roderick Tane, and he made it look easy, David.
Well, Tane made it a little easy for him because he went all the way wide. I just don't know if he thought Brown was going to be able to get into that inside berm and slingshot out of there like that, but he did it a few laps ago.
Maybe he's just not ready to take that kind of situation on.
I don't think he's willing to give it to him, though, but check this out. As Tane comes into the corner, he aims for the outside. Brown's just too close for that line. I mean, take this one or this one at least. Get Brown just slingshots out that inside line, and that was a gift.
So Mike Brown is our third leader here in the early going of the 125 first moto.
He might be the last one too. You see he looks over his shoulder to check out the scene behind him. The guy's coming into that corner. Sellards, but no Ramsey. And Ramsey seemed to be the guy on the move, but now that battle of Langston and Pastrana is working their way up.
Grant Langston behind Brock Sellards and Travis Pastrana is behind number 111. The former GP 125 champion of last year. Brock Sellards still looking strong though.
He's got a teammate coming up on him now. Look at the way, look at that line of Langston. Just chopped a second off the lead just by choosing a better line.
Sellards' win here last year was his second motocross win. His first one was 1999 at Washougal. He's just in front of Grant Langston. Langston in contention for the points championship, but Brock Sellards wants his third national victory.
Now, this is late enough in the season where I wouldn't expect to see the pit board come out for Sellards and say, hey, you know what, just make this a little easier.
There's the pit boards.
Kind of anxious to know what they'll say. Watch what happens to Ramsey right here. He gets swapped out. That's where he made his pass before on Sellards. Hopped back the other way.
Went for a ride off the track. Let's get more insight from Davey Coombs.
Slowly coming down to the pits, guys. Here is Nathan Ramsey. He was third place, one of the early contenders. Obviously crashed in the back section. You see him talking to his mechanic, John Bundy Mitchell. He's out of the race, but fortunately it looks like he's all right.
And we've got a race as hot as the weather here in Troy, Ohio for round number 8 in the 125s. Mike Brown is our leader. There's Pastrana, and Pastrana is trying to keep pace with number 111, Grant Langston. They're now in 4th and 5th. Langston working on his teammate for KTM, Brock Sellards.
Can't wait to see how this pans out. These guys get up into a fight, and Travis is able to get around Langston. That just is terrible teamwork. I think for Travis right now, all he really needs to do is just stay near Langston from here to the end of the series. He's still got a big lead. Doesn't really need to beat him at every race. Just don't let him get too far ahead. Put riders between himself and Travis.
Ferry Ward up to 7th place now.
Here we are a lap and a half or so later. Langston still the same distance behind Sellards. I don't see any sign of Sellards holding Langston up. But Travis is starting to close in now, and that's going to really tighten things up. That mechanics area is going to get real interesting next time by.
That last lap crash wrenching a sure victory away at Unadilla. He's won this kid's height with that action figure of Travis Pastrana here in Troy, Ohio. Mike Brown continues to lead our opening moto. 5 action, our first moto from Troy, Ohio, round 8. In our motocross series, Mike Brown is the leader. Rather unique story in motocross, Mike Brown. I think you hear a lot of Americans like Donnie Schmidt, Bobby Moore, Trampus Parker maybe going over to Europe to win championships. But you don't hear about too many guys coming back to America and being as successful as Mike Brown is showing us here.
Well, he's got 1 lap to go to win another moto. And you're right, Art. Even the guys that have gone over and won championships come back here and struggle. That's pretty much it. That's the end of their career. Mike went over there, didn't even win a championship. Now he's having some of the best rides he's ever had. And I think about, I draw the parallel with him and Tim Ferry a little bit. You know, guys that came onto the scene, looked like they had a lot of potential, but then just cruised for a while, and you think, maybe these guys aren't going to amount to much, but they're late bloomers. Brown's proven right now how talented he is.
Mike Consents his 4th moto victory of the year. He had the 1-1 sweep at Budds Creek for his overall victory this year. Here's the battle for 3rd. It's a battle of KTMs, and Brock Sellards is still leading Grant Langston. Is that going to surprise you?
It does. I thought when Langston caught him, that was going to be it. Just because Langston was a little bit better. But it seems like Sellards, who won here last year, as he already pointed out, has got this place wired, and he's not going to put himself in a position where he's holding up Langston and has to let him by in a point situation. He wants this moto, and he's earning it right now.
Mike Brown looking flawless as he's way out in front of Roderick Tane.
He's just floating around the track. Look at that, just sets the bike down nice on the downside. I mean, this is only the last lap. He doesn't have to be that aggressive, but he's making everything look pretty easy. Usually when you watch him ride, he looks real aggressive, looks like he's pushing hard. Even when he has pushed hard in this moto, he looks really comfortable.
There's Sellers in 3rd with still Langston on his tail.
Langston's really turned up the heat now. This is where I would be surprised. Langston could get in there and stick a wheel in here and there and still not get this position and this extra 2 points over Pastrana. Then maybe KTM will kick themselves later. If he closes the gap and loses the championship by that much.
Well, if it stays this way, Brown picks up 9 points on Pastrana. And Langston only 2. Mike Brown only a turn away from the checkered flag. A great ride from Michael Brown. Roderick Tane coming across in 2nd. It'll be interesting to see what Davey Coombs gets out of Mike Brown after that first moto victory. Tane, Sellards rounding out the top 3. Langston, Pastrana, Fonseca, Huffman, Ward, Jessamine, and Kelly Smith, the top 10. Davey?
Well, Mike, you were the first guy at the starting gate by about a half hour. Now you're the first one across the finish line. Good ride.
Yeah, it was. You know, I got a good start for me. You know, I started probably third or fourth, and just hung back there and got some good lines and made it to the front and just rode a steady race. Didn't want to use too much energy.
Were you surprised by Roderick Thane being up there?
Yeah, you know, he's a good Supercross rider and he got a good start. And yeah, he rode a great race. Hopefully he can do it again.
As far as the championship goes, I know it's a long way off, but you picked up a lot of points on both Langston and Pastrana. They finished 4th and 5th.
Yeah, you know, that's all I need to do every weekend is just be up here in the front, and that's all I can do is win and get as many points as I can.
So far, so good today.
Yep, great. Thank you.
What a second-place ride for number 32, Roderick Thane. Roderick, this is his first race since Budds Creek when he got injured. A good way to come back. Let's go back down to Davey Combs.
Well, Roderick, what is it about this place? You do very, very well here.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm impressed by myself because it's my comeback. I ride just since Monday. I'm very happy. My feet is pretty good the first 20 minutes, but after 20 minutes, I'm very, very tired. But Mike Brown is very fast. He's smart also. He looked my lane, everything, and he's a pretty good rider. I think he's the best rider in the circuit.
How's your shoulder feel?
Pretty good. It's not a problem now. I'm strong and I'm very happy again.
All right, good job.
Thank you very much.
It was a battle of KTMs for third with a lot at stake. And right here, Brock Sellards, who finally took third, had a terrific battle as well with Mike Brown, the eventual winner. Let's go back to hear from Brock.
Brock, that was a pretty exciting finish with your teammate Grant Langston.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what happened. I got out to the whole shot and I got a little tight. My whole body felt like, I just need to loosen up. And I lost a couple positions. I saved it a little in the middle, and then Grant started catching me, and it was just battle from there on out.
Toward the end there, he came up behind you. Pastrana came up as well. Did that complicate things? I mean, he being your teammate and all, and those two guys racing for the championship?
Yeah, you know, I thought about it a little bit. I didn't want to screw him up, but there's so many races left. One position doesn't make a big difference right now. It might in the end, but not right now.
What about the second motor? Can you get after Brown and Thane?
Yeah, my Red Bull KTM bike's getting out to gray hole shots. My mechanic Mike Williamson's got it working good. Hopefully, you know, like always, get the Michelin tires off the whole shot first and see how it goes.
Moto number 1 for the 125s in the record books. As we look forward now to the 250s, Mike LaRocco won this race back in 1994. He talks things over with his mechanic at the starting gate. Might he be the one to break up the Ricky Carmichael string of victories? It's all coming up next.
Down here on the starting gate, Art and David, you're not going to believe it, but it's actually somehow gotten hotter as we were ready for the first 250 moto. The pre-race favorite's got to be Ricky Carmichael. He's got 4 race wins in a row. But I tell you, Sebastian Tortelli is just about due. Tortelli's had bad luck in the last 2 races, running out of gas at Redbud at the finish line and then crashing in the first moto at Unadilla. I watched him practice this morning. He actually jumped out behind Ricky. They had a few laps of dueling. We'll see if it can carry over into the main event. Tortelli wants this win bad.
We've seen several riders have terrific motos and terrific events against Ricky Carmichael this year, but no one rider's been able to put more than 1 race together, as Ricky Carmichael in the Suzuki point standings has a 39-point lead. We talked earlier with Ricky.
Gonna try to look to open that up this weekend and, you know, see what happens. Like I said, it's a tight track. It takes a little more technique and skill to race this track, and I think it's more to my liking. To wrap it up before Steel City, and as well as to win some more races. You know, we still got 5 more races left, and you know, I just need to put in moto wins and build that points lead.
Riders are at the gate. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Carmichael, Wyndham, Tortelli, and Ferry, the top 4 of the points race. As we look at number 5, Mike LaRocco, David Villeman also a win on the season. John Dowd, 1 podium on the 4-stroke KTM. Brian Hughes on the new Honda 4-stroke. Stefan Roncada still in his first year of 250 action. Kyle Lewis, one of the top privateers that we'll see at the gate. And David, as we look at the rest of the 40-man field here in the 250 first moto, what's it like being at the gate, anticipating in this heat and humidity?
Well, it's the worst at the gate. Once your gate drops and you get going, you get a little breeze. But sitting at the gate where the nerves are high, the tension is high, the pressure, you know what you're about to have to do, and the sun's just beating on you. Look at that. They're trying to keep these guys cool by waving the pit board. They got the umbrellas over these guys, cold rags, and all that smoke. Now, the race gas, I could never smell enough of that. That smells good, but the smoke of these tires, I feel sorry for the mechanics.
Ricky Carmichael looking for his second consecutive 250 win here at Troy, Ohio. Right there, we're back of Larocco. That's Tortelli. Travis Preston to the left of Carmichael. Robbie Rayner, number 17, to the right of RC. The board is sideways. We're set to go for the opening 250 moto from Troy, Ohio. A great start for Wyndham. He gets the whole shot. Kevin's been getting some very, very good starts. Ricky Carmichael already in second place.
That's amazing to me. That's a drag race at the first corner, and for the first time, and since I can remember, no 4 strokes, 2 strokes out front.
For Kevin Wyndham, another good start here in our opening moto. Ricky Carmichael is right there challenging, though. Tortelli also in the scene. Ron Cotta's there. Tim Ferry and Ryan Hughes.
Ferry got bumped around the first corner, almost went down. If he'd have gone down, it'd be a mess.
There's Robbie Rayner getting into trouble.
Well, about a minute ago or less, Rayner was side by side with Carmichael. Now Carmichael is out there chasing Wyndham for the lead, and Rayner's in last. Start makes so much difference in these races.
Kevin Wyndham with beautiful technique, a good supercross rider. He might be tough to pass on this track. There's Ron Cotta in 4th place.
Those guys went through that berm so hard. That berm needs to be made out of cement, or it's going to get shoved another 2 feet and be no good by the end of this day. These guys are just slingshotting through there.
Kevin Wyndham starting to get a challenge now from RC. Tortelli in 3rd, Ron Cotta in 4th, and Ferry in 5th.
Carmichael already talked about the precision it takes to ride here. A little bit more technique. He says it's a good track for him. I like to think that Kevin's got a good chance here as well with all the technique. Plus, being from the south, he knows how to ride in the heat and humidity.
Carmichael shows Wyndham a wheel. Just explodes off the top of the jump.
I don't think Wyndham was ready for that. Thought he had the best line, and Carmichael just found a little bit of room and didn't shut off. Unbelievable. This guy just always finds a little bit more, and he does it early. He doesn't let anybody get set, get comfortable. If he followed Kevin a lap or 2 more, Kevin wouldn't be quite as worried about him back there. But now he's already psychologically beaten a little bit. Really got to fight to get back around Ricky. Not very many people have been successful with that this year. Hughes has passed Ricky a number of times, but Ricky always gets him right back again. Look at Wyndham right here. Maybe a little bit too far forward. Ricky crouched down, a little bit more aggressive, able to hold it on a little longer, gets by him. Got to blow Kevin's mind a little bit right there. He was going pretty fast, and Ricky blew by him.
Ricky never out of the top 5 this year. He made up for that 5th at Mount Morris and a 4th place in the opener with a 2nd and 4 straight victories. Ron Cotta, number 21, Kawasaki. Then Tim Ferry on the Yamaha before Hughes on the Honda, and Ferry goes off the track. Keeps it running, though.
Remember, Davey talked about the Supercross sections of this racetrack being pretty easy. That's one of the harder ones. The timing's got to be just right there, and you go through all those shadows. See, it's hard to see your line.
Welcome back to Troy, Ohio. Art Eckman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs bringing you the action as number 21, Stefan Ron Cotta. Currently in 4th, trying to hold off the 4-stroke of Ryan Hughes. Ron Cotta, he was on the podium at Red Bud, a 3rd place with a 3-4. Motos. Hughes took a 2nd in that race. Davey Coombs for a look at the mechanical side.
It was a busy morning for the mechanics here at Kenworthy's with a lot of mud and tack on the track. So for this week's Kawasaki bike setup, we got with Stefan Roncotta's mechanic, Dan Worley, to find out what kind of things he's doing to Stefan's bike. Dan, what do you have going?
Well, track conditions are excellent today, Davey. First of all, it's really tacky, really ruddy. So we're going to run a lighter flywheel today just to help it get out of corners, along with a bigger sprocket on the rear, just to get the bike out of the corners as fast as it possibly can. And last and probably most major one today is carburation. It's really humid, and we just have to have the bikes working good.
All right, we'll let you get back to washing the bike. For this week's Kawasaki bike setup, that's Dan Worley, Stefan Roncotta's mechanic.
And here's another tip we didn't really mention there is when you're washing the bike, you can't get it clean just having it on the stand. Lay it over on each side. Get everything out from underneath the tank, the fenders. It's important. You got to get all the mud. And while you're washing the bike, you also notice a lot of things that might be loose, broken. Good way to check out your bike while you're washing it. Oh, not you.
Stefan Roncada put it down, got it dirty again.
I hope he wasn't listening to me. And there goes look at the positions he's losing now. Just laid it over a little bit too far right there. The foot pegs may have drug in the berm. The back wheel kicked up out of it.
Ryan Hughes now moving up into fourth. Roncada expecting more from this year in the motocross action. He was his big goal was to finish up in the top 5, and he came into this race in 9th.
Stefan comes into the corner, everything looking good. Yeah, it looks like he laid it over, and the back end kicked up out of the berm. We couldn't really see it because that little bit of a hill there in the way, but I think that's what happened. As he laid it over, he didn't have the front wheel up high enough in the berm. He didn't have enough ground clearance.
Ended up in good wash position. Villeman leading laps in the first 3 races, winning at Mount Morris. Tim Ferry winning the opener. He won the first moto at Unadilla, but then had problems in that second moto. It was a miracle he finished 7th.
Nothing really happened, I should say. Nothing, my bike didn't break. My mechanic didn't fail me or nothing like that, but I got a rock, it hit my brake caliper, and it busted it off. So I had to pull in, they had to remove the whole thing, and by the time I got back on the track, I was in about 17th place or so.
He's in a battle right now with David Villeman. He goes to the outside, Villeman to the inside. Ferry with the 4-stroke. Does he take the advantage of the 2-stroke? Yes, he does. He's proven that he can make that transition with that YZ 426F, hasn't he, David?
Really impressed with the way he rode the end of the Supercross season. He never really struck me as a great outdoor rider, but man, he's starting to prove to me, and I think more importantly to himself, with motos here and there where he's the fastest guy on the track. That confidence is going to be interesting to see next year, the first round. Watch Villeman, he's got the inside through here, but I don't know why he didn't go back to the inside again. Ferry takes a good advantage of it. See Villeman look over at him like maybe he just didn't want to bother with it. Let Ferry back up there in that points chase.
I think Ferry's got a real shot at being the top 3 when this season ends. And maybe even some podiums next year in Supercross.
I think so. I think he's got that kind of talent. I don't know if he can take it to Jeremy and Carmichael, who expect to be the top guys next year, but wouldn't surprise me at all, Art, to see Ferry standing on the podium with him.
Here's another 2-stroke, 4-stroke altercation. It's Mike Larocco, the Amsoil Dr. Martin's Honda versus Team Honda's Ryan Hughes. Hughes has the advantage right now. Carmichael still out in front with Wyndham in second. We'll be back. 250, first moto action. It's a battle for 4th right now as Ricky Carmichael dominates out front. Ryan Hughes, number 120 on the 4-stroke, and Mike Larocco, number 5.
Listen to Ryan's bike.
That'll wake you up.
Oh, imagine what that sounds like for Larocco.
Here comes Mike. He just soon be in front of that sound. Mike Larocco, he's got the edge as Hughes goes wide.
He muscled his way in there and forced Ryan to that outside. Ryan had the good line going in, but Larocco he wanted it more. You could see that.
Larocco's the only other 250 winner here at Troy besides RC, who is still active, totally active that is. Doug Henry won at 99 here.
Larocco's starting to pull away a little bit now. Tricky working his way through those shadows. Watch Mike, this is real shaded. He just comes into that corner so hot. He should be coming around that line, but watch what happens. He's going to square it kind of by accident and just gets a straight shot. A little dance there with Ryan. Ryan's like, you know what? I'm not arguing with you on that one. You can have it. Good choice.
Mike Larocco fighting through back problems recently. He's had good first motos, but double-digit second motos in the last 2 outings. Back to the action. Ricky Carmichael leads. Kevin Wyndham, number 14 on the Suzuki on the inside there, is in second place with Tortelli in 3rd. Tortelli now looks like he wants second place.
Now Kevin lost contact with Carmichael. Then you kind of get caught in no man's land. It's tough to really push yourself. It's so hot out there, and I think he's probably trying to conserve a little bit of energy for the second moto, and he just got caught sleeping a little bit. Tortelli snuck up there.
Oh, Ryan Hughes is off the track. Our reports are that he hit pretty hard. And he goes out of there, looks like with banners in the back wheel.
He looks a little shaken up still to me, Art, and his goggles are on the handlebar. That's pretty much it for him for this moto, looks like.
A tough break, because the last two races, Rhino showed us his best racing. Second at Red Bud to fifth at Unadilla. He was racing comfortably with the leaders at that time. Here comes Sebastian Tortelli, Team Honda, knocking on the door of Kevin Windham. Wyndham's got his work cut out for him because Tortelli has been a fast rider in recent races. What an uplift it was at Unadilla winning that second moto for Sebastian Tortelli. Let's check in with Davey Combs.
We heard a report from the other side of the track that Ryan Hughes has some banners in his wheel. You see his mechanic, Dan Bentley. He's pulled out a pair of snibs. If Hughes pulls in, we'll let you guys know. You're going to try and get some of the banners out of that wheel.
At least here at Troy, they've got a long area for the mechanics.
Good place to pull in. It's almost like a pit road here.
There you see Hughes pulling the pits right now. Look at the banners wrapped up in that rear wheel down in the sprocket. I think that he's just going to call it a day, guys. Big crash for Hughes. He was running fifth. Now he's out of the race.
We'll check a little later to see if he actually stays on the track or does go back to the pits. Hard to see from that area right now. Mike LaRocco in fourth place. And you know how he always finishes a race, wide open. Ricky Carmichael still our leader with Kevin Windham in second place. More 250 action from Troy coming up. Welcome back to round 8 of the Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championships from Troy, Ohio. There's Tim Ferry currently in fifth. It doesn't appear that something must be wrong with that bike.
Well, he's nursing it around. You see he doesn't have any power. Just a little puff of smoke right there. So, yeah, he's out. He might be able to still get in the top 20 this late in the race. Now he's stopping now, so maybe that's a bad sign. Nowhere near the mechanics area.
Boy, it is. He hasn't had a double-digit finish all season long. Trying to restart it now. Could it be a cooling problem with this heat and humidity?
Now, your guess is as good as mine, Art. I don't ride 4 strokes. I'm still learning about these things, and there's a lot of different parts on there that can malfunction.
The fans have been cheering him. The other riders really haven't seen much of this number 4, Ricky Carmichael. Boy, after coming off 2 second-place finishes at Unadilla, but winning the overall championship and becoming the winningest motocross rider in the history of the sport here in America, he's out to win the moto. The final lap, this would be his 9th moto win in 16 motos. Let's check in with Davey Combs. Davey.
Way down across the starting line, you could see Team Yamaha mechanic Brian Kinney. He works with Tim Ferry. He's walking over to see what happened. Ferry pulled off the track, as we just saw, after we saw some smoke coming out of the bike at DNF. It's going to be a long walk back to the pits for both Brian and Tim Ferry.
Here's our leader, Ricky Carmichael, who last year became one of only 3 riders to win both a 125 and a 250 here at Troy. The other on a Kawasaki, Jeff Emig, and Jean-Michel Bale also did that. Ricky intent on building the record that he surpassed in the last race at Unadilla, and that, of course, being the winningest AMA motocrosser in the history of the sport, surpassing Bob Hanna's record of 37 wins. That win at Unadilla for Ricky was number 38. And this really sets the scene for a second moto and a shot at building on that record.
Comes up a little bit short on that double, gets a little bounce off of it. He keeps looking over his shoulder every once in a while just to see how that battle for second, they're gaining any time. They don't seem to be, but it's hot. This is the part of the race where you start to get a little bit tired, and Ricky wants to cruise a little bit, still kill these guys, ruin their confidence for the second moto, but not give away too much energy. He's got plenty left for the second moto.
Not too much further for Ricky Carmichael, and he'll win his 9th moto. Just around the corner, taking it easy. The checkered flag is flying. It'll be interesting to see if he stops or goes on back to the pits, because he's had all kinds of stomach virus problems. In fact, he didn't feel very well at Unadilla, you might recall. So it's Ricky Carmichael, Kevin Windham, and Sebastian Tortelli in our first 250 moto, with Mike LaRocco and Stefan Roncada rounding out the top 5. Ezra up there in 6th. Let's go to Davey.
Kevin, that looked like a hot one.
It was, man. I wish I could have hung with Ricky because I think the top three, I don't know what happened to us, but we all kind of got spread out and weren't charging as hard as I definitely should have. I think I could have caught him, and upsets me, but it's the way it goes.
From where we're standing, it looks like it's hard to make up any time out there. Track's good, the soil's good, but there's not a lot of lines.
No, I mean, the inside's definitely faster, and it's getting rough in a lot of those deep ruts, so maybe in the second moto we'll have to move out, but who knows? I don't know. Right now the inside's the fastest.
All right, I'll let you go cool down.
Thanks a lot.
We'll let Kevin go back to the ice water and take that body temperature back down as he had a brilliant battle with Sebastian Tortelli. Tortelli putting all kinds of pressure on Kevin Windham. Let's go back to Davey.
Sebastian, it looked like you had a good pace going, but then you couldn't get by Windham.
Yeah, you know, I was behind Kevin and I couldn't get by him, and you know, that kind of tied me up a little bit, and I started doing some mistakes, and big mistake when I tried to pass him again, and it was pretty bad. You know, I just didn't ride my race, and next time I need to, you know, relax more and try to pass earlier on and be better for me.
How do you feel physically? Was it hot out there?
It's very hard out there, you know, it's hard, but you know, I'm not happy about myself because I have the condition. I just, you know, didn't ride smooth and, you know, didn't express myself on the track, and that's what I don't like, you know. Third is not a big place, but, you know, not riding like I should, you know, it's what bothered me.
What atrocious timing and a bad break for Tim Ferry. Having his problems in this first moto, finishing out of the points. He came in fourth in points, 47 points in back of the leader. Let's go back to Davey to see what happened.
Tim, what happened? We saw you move back into the top 5, then all of a sudden you're pulling off the track.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, about halfway through or something like that, I must have hit a tire or something with my radiator, or hit a rider and put a hole in it, and you know, finally to see, it's like 3 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go, so kind of a bummer. It's the last 2 weeks, it's something that not, you know, me, Yamaha, or my mechanic, you know, did wrong. It's just the way it goes, I guess.
Good luck in the second moto.
Thank you.
So Ricky Carmichael adds 3 points to his lead over Kevin Windham. Windham finishing second right behind RC in that first moto. As we turn now to the 125s for their second moto of the afternoon. Mike Brown at the gate, getting ready though for the sight lap. We'll be right back for the action after this. Damon Huffman charge. He passed Hughes. Next was Suzuki teammate Lusk. Huffman then took on Steve Lampson. Huffman into the lead. This win was Damon's second overall of the year, with the other one coming at Hangtown. That was history. We're about ready to make history. Number 100, Mike Brown, looking for a sweep after taking the first moto here in the 125s. Trying to take the glory away from number 18, Brock Sellards. You see him with the umbrella over his head. 32nd board up, ready to turn sideways. Will Pastrana rebound and stop the point slide. How about Grant Langston? We're off and running.
Brown got pinched off right away.
A great start for Damon Huffman. Oh, carnage in the first turn. That's Shea Bentley, only a couple of races back. Andridge is another rider, and Billy Payne, it looked like, got mixed up in it, maybe.
Shea walked off to the right. That's his mechanic. It doesn't look good for him. He just leaves the bike, so Shea's not doing too well either.
Out in front, Ernesto Fonseca.
And Brown, who got pinched off the start right away, went through the first corner. Amazing. There's Pastrana. Brown looks like he's up to about 4th already.
Mike Brown is out for a sweep here in Troy, Ohio. Let's go down and check in with Davey Combs. Davey?
Pretty crazy start there in the second 125 moto. Still laying in the first turn are Billy Payne and Derek Shea Bentley. Both those riders just came off injury reserve. In fact, Payne only rode his first national since last year, while Schugel at Unadilla a week ago. They're still down. As for the main contenders, Pastrana got away about 10th, but Langston is further back about 20th. We'll see how that plays out.
Check the start once again, David.
Well, see over here to the right, Payne and Shea get together, hooked up right there, locked bars, end over end. At least it happened to the outside. The rest of the pack got through there clean. And Brown, he came in about mid-pack and came out smelling like a rose. Pastrana did the same thing the first moto.
Fonseca being pursued by Brock Sellards. Sellards, another great start on that KTM. This could be considered his home track. New Philadelphia, Ohio, he's from. So he's glad to be back home at a place where he won last year.
I've said it 100 times. There's something about coming back to a track where you've won. You just feel good in the rent-a-car on the way there. You go out and practice, and you just remember feeling like unstoppable. Right there, Fonseca can feel him coming. He looks over. If he can get around Fonseca and check out a little bit before he gets Brown on his tail, that'd be a big plus.
Fonseca's got a lot of incentive. He was 6th in the first moto. It sets the scene for one of his best overall events of the year. He had a 5th at Redbud, which is his best to date. Brock Sellards, though, starting to put the heat on in 2nd place on Fonseca on the 4-stroke.
Fonseca in that corner before, he didn't go too wide. He got right into a good burn, the second one out, and just railed through there. He's looking good right now. He watered the track a little bit. This guy's had a little tough time getting over the triple before the big tunnel jump. But Fonseca's still holding on right here. He's got a good cushion.
I don't see how they can see the right rut to hit when they get into the shade area. Fonseca, Sellards, Brown are top 3. Boniface and Floyd. The 125s after Mike Brown took the first moto. He's in 3rd right here behind Brock Sellards. Out in front, Ernesto Fonseca.
And pulling away a little bit. Seems like Brown can get around Sellards. I don't know. It's not like Brown has put so much pressure on Sellards that he's being held up. Sellards is holding his own right now, but you can see that Fonseca has stretched it out a little bit. This is more his style racetrack, plus that Yamaha Troy thing.
And a little bit of surprise behind them, and Steve Boniface, Amsoil Honda's representative from France. Here comes Brownie. Very aggressive move. Bar to bar they go in the timing section. Sellards doesn't want to give it up, but Brownie's got the edge on the inside.
Well, he tripled in there. Plus he had the inside already. Tripled in. That pretty much solidified that pass. But the way he got out of that corner was all over Sellards. Johnson used to do that to people. He would just ride their rear wheel out of a berm. Usually when you get into a corner, it gets tight, and at the exit, it separates again. Brown didn't let that happen.
Sellards doesn't want to let him off the hook.
Look how close Brown is right here. Look at the space. And he's looking right through Sellards at the line he wants to take. He set that up perfect. Goes right to the inside, and he still managed to triple that. And this guy is not kidding around.
Mitch Payton's crew doing quite a job in that Pro Circuit Kawasaki of Mike Brown, number 100. So Brown in 2nd place now has all eyes toward Ernesto Fonseca. You know, David, last couple of races, they've had their run-in.
Yeah, that's right. It's Redbud. That wasn't a run-in. That was a takeout. And Unadilla ran him off the racetrack. You know, you can look at Brown and go, hey, that may have been a little bit of a dirty move. But Fonseca left the door wide open and kind of invited him in there. And you can see the intentions of Brown. I think Fonseca knows that now. So being out in the lead, having Brown coming, he's got a shot at getting back at him a little bit in case Brown is able to get up close.
There's Brown, Sellards, and Boniface. Boniface under the tent of Mike LaRocco at Amsoil Honda. They thought he had the potential, and right now he's showing it.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Akira Narita. You know, just every once in a while, the guy just runs at the front and shows all kinds of speed, but it's not that consistent.
Right now, he's got the potential to post his finest moto of the year. His best previous is 7th at Redbud in the first moto. Boniface best overall. Whoa. Keith Johnson, that's Keith R. Johnson of Albuquerque, New Mexico, over in the mechanics area. I was going to say Boniface's best overall was a 9th at Budds Creek.
And he went 10-8 for that, so that was a consistent ride, and right now he's learning a lot. It's got to give him so much confidence to know that he's hanging with Brown and Sellards, who just lit it up the first moto.
This track holding together pretty well. Lots of predictions that it would rut up a little bit in the second round, the second motos for the 125 and 250s, but it's held pretty tight.
Now it's hard enough packed. Once it develops a line, it doesn't get much deeper than that. It just gets a little choppier. I love this section.
Let's check into the mechanics area. Davey, Racer X Coombs. How about it, Davey?
Take a look at another one of the early casualties in the pit area. That's Paul Curry of the Plano Honda team. He's got his shirt off. I think that's because it's hot, not because he got ripped off. Part of another early crash you see him explain to his team personnel right there.
Curry on the sideline. We got Larry Ward, the old man, out there in the heat. I say old man, he's coming back after sitting out the Supercross season, but boy, did he show us something at Redbud. His first win of the season and the first for the YZ250F and his Moto XXX team.
He had a string of second places going there for a while. Then he finally got an overall. In that second moto at Unadilla, where he collided with his teammate Brandis, went down. That really took him out of the rhythm he had.
There's his mechanic, Doug Stone, who helped him to that first win since 1992. Number 100, Mike Brown in second place. Trying to pull up on our leader, Ernesto Fonseca, and he's doing a pretty good job of it right now.
Got a little left there over that double out of the corner, almost hit that blue barrel, and listening to his bike, Art, Peyton has got that thing running good. It sounds potent, and chasing that four-stroke, I think that bike has kind of motivated Peyton to get some more power out of Brown's bike.
Our Suzuki trivia question, what year did Guy Cooper win the 125s here at Kenworthy? The answer when we get back. Answering the trivia question, Guy Cooper did it in 1991. Here's the battle for the lead. Fonseca trying to hold off Mike Brown. Brown gets a good cut on the berm. Bar to bar we go. Can it be the four-stroke or the Pro Circuit Kawasaki? It's the Pro Circuit Kawasaki right now, a new leader in our second moto. Mike Brown wants another sweep.
And just one more time, proving to Fonseca, get out of my way. And Fonseca did. So he owns him now. I'm anxious to see how Fonseca retaliates if he can. He's got to be a little bit motivated to get back in there and stick a wheel in somewhere. Maybe more than that.
Fonseca trying to come back to regain the lead. The young man from Costa Rica, who has won a regional 125 Supercross title, but hasn't mastered really the longer motocross tracks yet.
Or Mike Brown. Mike has just owned it. Every time they get near each other, Mike gets the better of him.
Did I hear he's going to Honda, Fonseca?
I think so. I think he's signed with those guys, and looks like he's going to be riding the 250 Supercross full-time in the semi with Carmichael. Possibly the 125's outdoor. I haven't heard for sure yet, but it sounds like he's going to be Honda next year.
And it'll be interesting to see what Mike Brown decides. Here comes Fonseca. Back into the action. I like it. Ernesto Fonseca. Oh, he could have put him up in the weeds. Well, that was a birthday present, because Mike Brown did the opposite a couple of races ago. The crowd's going crazy right now. The battle for first continues.
Well, you got to hand it to Ernesto. He stepped it back up. Brown had a faster pace. Caught him, tried to pull away. Ernesto caught right back up. Here was a golden opportunity. Look how far he jumps. Bottoms out. You can tell he was mad. He wants to get back in there and repay Brown a little bit and let him know, hey, you can't just push me around. But he should have just gone straight right there. Just go straight, use him for a berm, put him up in the fence. He was a little too nice right there. Almost washes out himself, sets it right back up for Brown to get by. It was a kind of a half-hearted effort. I think he let Brown know, hey, you can't push me around, but he was a little too nice right there.
It's part of the game, just like the brushback pitch in baseball. You got to do it at times.
Well, Brown and Fonseca racing with each other have opened up a pretty good lead over this pack. Huffman leading the pack. He's won here before. No slouch on this track.
Won in 97, and then looking up that fact, found out he won it in 94. 3 years in between the two wins for Damon Huffman. There's number 31, Brandon Jessamine. He's having another good moto. He's coming off a 5th place finish, his best of the year. That was at Unadilla.
I'm a little surprised to see Sellers dropping back.
Let's check in with Davey.
Sean, after a ton of bad starts for Brandon, it looks like this is the race he's been wanting to get into for a long time.
Yeah, we finally got off to an okay start. Brandon's riding really well. He just moved in the 4th. He's all over Damon Huffman. Hopefully we can maybe get a podium out of this.
This was the race last year where Brandon turned it around, finishing second in the second moto. Maybe this will be the jumping off point you guys need for the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's what happened last year, and he's riding really well now. Hopefully we can finish there, and next couple races do well as well. So hopefully things go good for us and get some better starts too.
Damon Huffman, who really likes this track. Everybody said, well, that's because he's mostly a supercross rider back in the old days. Winning twice, has stepped up the pace. And Jessamine is trying to take advantage of that right behind him.
These guys really picking it up after the first moto. Got a good pace, moved right around Sellers. He started off good. He started off in second, but he couldn't match these guys' pace. They pulled away a little bit now.
Earlier, Wyndham was talking about possibly two lines developing as the track wore down, and you could see in the berms that there are two pretty good lines right now.
Yeah, some corners it's 4 berms. I love that. You got choices like that. And then look at that right there. Jessamine going to the outside, puts him to the inside the next corner. Just kind of catches Huffman by surprise, lands on the power, already opened up the gap. So Jessamine really going good here.
A super move by Jessamine.
He's a little bit like Boniface. You know, maybe there's something going on over there with that team. I don't know what it is, but every once in a while, Jessamine just steps in here and just shows us something brilliant. Watch this. What he's going to do is triple into the corner. Huffman can only double it, so he's got to aim for that inside berm. Jessamine ducks right around him. Good clean pass. Puts him on the inside of the next corner in case he wouldn't have gotten that much room ahead of him. He would have had that inside. Just elbow Huffman out of that inside line and still make the move.
Outstanding move by Jessamine, as he is now currently in third and looking strong for his best moto finish of the year. The battle for first is on, though. Mike Brown still has Fonseca. Fonseca shows me something now.
Now he's showing Brown something too. Brown looked over his shoulder, thought Fonseca might be trying that inside again, covered the line, so now he's riding defensive. The fastest guy on the track lately, Brown, is being hounded by Fonseca. This is the fastest I've seen Fonseca go the whole national series. And you know why? Because he's mad right now.
Brown, Fonseca, Jessamine are top 3. Langston moving into 9th. Pastrana still in 10th. Michael Brown looks like he's broken free of Fonseca now in the final lap of the 125 second moto. Mike Brown so close now of his second sweep on the season.
I like the point you kept bringing up about the fact that in Europe last year, all of his wins were sweeps, 5 of them. This will be his second win and his second sweep.
Plus, he picks up something like 17 points on Pastrana in this moto alone. What's really remarkable, I think, is that Brown has had 3 motos this year that he failed to score a point. And yet he's now moving back into contention for the 125 title, along with Grant Langston and Pastrana. All the highlights, check out Moto World on ESPN2, Tuesday, August 7th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
You know, Art, there was, and I know better than this, but there was a time as Brown starts to salute the crowd a little bit with that extra cushion over Fonseca that I pretty much counted him out of the championship. Now I'm looking at it thinking, with the points he picked up on both Langston in this moto, and especially Pastrana, he's fighting himself back into this race with plenty more races left to go in the title. And I think about a soundbite, Art, back in Redbud, the second moto, when Brown was chasing down the leaders, and Davey asked Mitch Payton, do you think Brown could be able to catch those guys? And Mitch Payton goes, yes. No question about it in his mind. And you know, I've been feeling sorry for Mitch a little bit with the year he's had, all of his guys getting hurt and some bad luck, but Brown could pull this thing off yet.
Brown had options when coming back to America. Does he go with KTM or Pro Circuit Kawasaki? At the time, he wasn't sure that KTM would have such great factory support. It turns out they put together a great team. But he went with the time-tested Mitch Payton.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to stay with Mitch for 2002.
Ernesto Fonseca is not being tested for second place.
He's got somebody back there pretty close, but he's still got enough of a lead. It's forced him to keep the pace up, which is keeping him pretty close to Brown, but it's going to be too late.
It would be his best moto of the year. A third at Hangtown was his best prior. The checkers from Mike Brown. And look at this. He's calling Fonseca over. Ernesto not quite sure he wants to get too close. It'd be interesting to be a mouse in that discussion. Looks like Mike is trying to explain something to him, David.
Yeah, it looks like they're friends about this now. You know what? I think Brown is impressed that Ernesto had the nerve to get up there and race him that way.
Langston picked up more points off Pastrana. Let's go to Davey.
Mike, it was just like the first moto. You come to the gate first before anyone. You get to the finish line first.
Yeah, I'm gonna start that every weekend. I tried something different this week, and you know, first of all, I gotta thank Bridgestone. My tires are great this week, man. I'm pumped on it, ready for the rest of them, and my Kawasaki Spitfire Pro Circuit Thor is awesome.
You've had some run-ins with Ernesto Fonseca the last couple weeks. Looked like he gave you a little back today.
Yeah, he did. You know, I deserve it. I've hit him 3 weekends. I told him that's racing. That's fine, you know. Whatever comes around goes around, and I'm just out there to race like he is.
As far as the championship goes, you got another big haul on points. Langston and Pastrana right back towards the end of the top 10. You're right back in the championship chase.
Yeah, I just got to not get overconfident, just go out and act like I'm still last and just go for it.
Good ride.
Thanks.
Behind Mike Brown, Ernesto Fonseca with a 6-2, taking second place overall. Brock Sellers also on the podium. Let's go back to Davey now to hear from Ernesto. That's his first podium of the year.
Well, Ernesto, I know that you and Mike Brown have had some run-ins the last couple weeks, but you got to feel good. You got a chance to get him back.
I did actually try to get him back, but Mike's tough, and you know, it's kind of hard to say. I had a really good race going, and I didn't want to destroy it. I think he's tough. He's big. He's a big guy, and it's hard to knock him down.
It was an excellent ride, probably the best national moto we've seen you have this year. What turned it around today?
I don't know. I got a good start, and I think I tried to get a rhythm right there, and it worked out great. My bike's working great. I want to thank Yamaha, Dunlop, Fox, Oakley, Alpine Stars, Bell Helmets. Thanks a lot.
When we come back to the race here at Troy, you're right in your sponsor, Phil Alderton's backyard. You have to feel good to put a Yamaha Troy bike up there on the podium.
Great. I think that was my goal today, and I did, and I'm so happy for the team, for Yamaha, and for myself.
As we take a look at the Suzuki point standings after 8 rounds, Langston was 44 points behind Pastrana. Brown was 59 points behind Pastrana after Redbud. Now, Langston's 18 back. Brown only 3 behind Langston. Oh, we've got a title race on our hands. Let's go back to Dave.
Well, Brandon, after about 100 bad starts in a row, you finally got an okay start. You never stopped charging. You got it to third.
Yes, I finally got a top 15 start anyways. And I worked myself up from there. And I like this track, and I prepared for the heat. I've been working really, really hard. So it's finally starting to pay off, and I really like to thank Ames Oil, Doc Martens, Honda Factory Connection, O'Neill, Scott Goggles, and Gary Semix, and everyone for helping me get this far.
You know, last year you got second in the second moto here, and it turned your whole season around. Are you thinking you can do the same in 2001?
Yes, I'd very much like to. I mean, I've been working really hard, and I just need to get my top 15 starts down, and I should be ready to go.
Good ride. Way to keep charging.
Oh, thank you.
As we check out the style of Mike Brown on the way to 2 first-place finishes in the 2 motos today, we're not used to seeing Travis Pastrana in a slump this time of the season. He still has the points lead to handle tough times, but usually he's putting together a stretch drive for the championship right about now. But it's Langston and the aggressive riding of Mike Brown that's responsible for closing the gap here in the 125 points race. Mike Brown getting together of sorts with Ernesto Fonseca once again. They come out of it friends. Kevin Windham second in points in the 250s. Second in the first moto to Ricky Carmichael. Can he break the RC string? Here at Troy, Ohio, Ricky Carmichael comes off his 9th win in 15 motos. Number 4 in the Kawasaki, on his way to defending his championship in the 250 motocross scene. But there are concerns about his condition. As we approach the second moto, let's find out from Davey Combs.
Down here on the starting gate for the second 250 moto, we tried to get a word with Ricky Carmichael, but when we walked over to say something, he kind of shrugged us off. I could tell by the look in his face he is not feeling good. The heat is just coming down right now, and I don't blame Ricky for not wanting to talk. However, he's got a championship to win, so he's going to try and race, but even though the second moto hasn't started yet, Carmichael looks like the first victim of the heat here at Kenworthy's.
It was a tremendous first moto with all kinds of interaction. As we see here, Kevin Windham holding off Sebastian Tortelli for second place, right behind Ricky Carmichael. And in this heat and humidity, it takes a toll. You've got to replenish the liquids and cool off the body.
See all that water sitting there on the ground. He's got to drink all that. Plus, he's replenishing the electrolytes right there with that Gatorade.
That was between motos, and right now the riders of the 250 class are on the cement pad warming up the tires. That's David Villeman, 934. Most of the Europeans having reservations about the cement pad. They're just not used to them in Europe.
Only time I ever started on it was at Southwick, and I never got a start inside the top 20. Then I raced on cement in Japan. Got whole shots every time I raced there. So I don't understand that. Something to do with Japanese cement, I guess.
Ricky Carmichael, despite his condition, a stomach virus, and the heat, tries to go 2 for 2. Ryan Hughes right next to him, number 120. Sebastian Tortelli, number 13. We're off and running. Second moto. Ron Cotta gets caught behind. Tim Ferry, great start for Ferry and Hughes and Dowd.
Carmichael got stuck on the inside. See him way over there to the left. Came out pretty good behind LaRocco.
John Dowd on the big KTM has moved into the lead as we look at the pack that follows.
That's the last thing Carmichael needed, was to get a not much better than a mid-pack start. There's Ron Cotta to the inside.
Out in front, John Dowd, followed by Tim Ferry. After that tough time in the first moto for Ferry, he's out near the front. Yellow flags are out, and they're still coming over the triple. Tortelli's down.
Looks like Windham just getting going. That's the second week in a row now. Tortelli having to come from last in one of the motos. He did it at Unadilla in the first moto, last to 5th. Trying to get his clutch lever spit. Try that while you're riding down the track. This guy has the worst luck.
So you have the second and third finishers in the opening moto having to fight from behind and fight through the traffic.
You know, the plus there, though, is Carmichael didn't get that great a start either.
Here comes Tim Ferry. Ferry versus Dowd out front. Hughes is right behind him. 3-4 strokes.
We need earplugs anywhere near that pack. Sounds like a 4-stroke national.
So Tim Ferry not letting that first moto bother him.
Carmichael moving up pretty good. He's already up there with Luss, Rocco. Those guys have carved through the pack in this first half a lap.
There's Dowdy 16 and Hughes 120.
I'll tell you what, I feel sorry for the guy in 4th. He better be wearing a chest protector.
Ryan Hughes now starting to make a move on John Dowd. Here comes Hughes. Rhino doing the job. You know, we thought he pulled off or went back to the mechanics area in the first moto. No, he stayed out there for a 13th place finish.
Typical Rhino. It didn't look like he was going to continue the race.
He really had his bell rung heavy.
Well, he faked Davey out. Davey thought that he's out for the moto. I kind of did too. He still continued on the track. He had no goggles, but he hung in there. I'll tell you, he's one of the tougher guys. He has no trouble with the heat. He lives in Temecula. He practices in the heat, the hottest time of the day on purpose.
Ricky Carmichael also with that humidity in Florida gets plenty of hot, damp practice time.
Well, it's not really the heat that's bothering Ricky. He's got a problem, and the heat's just making it worse.
We'll be right back with more action on the final moto. Ohio in our second 250 moto. Ricky Carmichael, the defending series champion, is making his way now up to 6th place. Let's check into the pit area now with Davey Combs. Davey?
I caught up with Eldon Baker down here in the pit area. Eldon works directly with Ricky Carmichael. Eldon, how is Ricky's condition?
Davey, we've got a few problems. He's had some stomach cramps and a very bad upset stomach, and obviously lost a lot of fluids. And it's a big concern. He was struggling to basically get on the bike for the second moto, and he's a true champion, so he's going to try and go out there and do the best he can. But it's a tough situation. You know, he ain't got a lot of fluids inside him, and we know it's going to be a close call to see if he runs the race, and obviously if he's going to try and hang in there. Points are a concern, so we're just going to see how it goes.
Thanks, Eldon.
Thanks, David.
Incredible. Just as he's talking about Ricky's condition, he blows by LaRocco and has got Lusk next on his list.
You know, Ricky's the kind of rider that just He'll have a problem, and he won't be feeling good in the pits, but he'll go out there in the race, put it all behind him, get the race over with. He's ducking for the roost right there from Ezra. And then after the race, then he'll deal with the problem. I love the line in whatever movie that was, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the guy in the movie, big tough guy, he goes, I ain't got time to bleed. That's Ricky. He doesn't have time for problems when he's out there on the racetrack.
Ricky's actually in good position for the overall because second and third in the first motor are way back there.
Watch this. Ezra Lusk just landed in front of Ricky under power on the downside of that double and shot a roost up in Ricky's face. He knew that was coming and ducked for it. Sometimes these guys do it on purpose. Right here. You could do it right there. Give somebody a face full just to get them off your tail. I used to do it on purpose a couple times. If somebody irritated me a little bit or would bother me, give them a face full and get a little breathing room. Of course, it's coming back to you someday. You know that.
Two old friends, quite likely changing teams next year. Lusk to Kawasaki and Carmichael to Honda as we get set for the 2002 season. Oh, looks like Rhino behind the banner slipped out. He was in second place.
That moves John Dowd up to second. These guys are in the battle for third. And like you said, Art, it's possible. Oh, look at Ricky.
Just shoots off that jump. Bar to bar we go. Who's going to come out of it in the corner? Carmichael moving toward the inside with Dowd up in front, and Carmichael a great move on Ezra Lusk.
Going into the shadows right there, just slammed into that berm. Lusk has got to be back there going, I can't go much faster than this. And trust me, when these guys have a looks like Carmichael takes advantage of John Dowd right there. He gets a little out of control. So now Ricky goes over that plateau, looks to his left. He's looking at Ferry.
From fourth to second place.
These other guys, when somebody's hurt, they all hear about it. They all know that Ricky's got stomach problems. Ezra's probably thinking somebody's giving me bad information because I don't see anything wrong with that guy. Look at him go.
Ricky in good position now for his 5th consecutive victory on the season. Carmichael just absolutely outstanding on this lap. And of course, he gets by Hughes here. You can see behind the sign, Hughes going down. He was in second place at the time. Carmichael has taken his place now in second.
Look how deep those berms are getting in the trees. 3 or 4 berms in every corner, and this is all wide open here, so it's only hard to pass because everyone's so good now. They all know what each other are thinking. Carmichael somehow always finds his way to the front, even if he has problems.
This would actually be the 4th consecutive year Ricky Carmichael has won here at Troy. He won in 98 and 99 on a 125. Tim Ferry has checked out. He's our leader. We're back in Troy, Ohio. As Tim Ferry has checked out, Ricky Carmichael, despite not feeling well, has moved into second place. And the battle is on for third with John Dowd, Ezra Lusk, and Mike LaRocco. LaRocco with a good position on the outside. That's number 16, John Dowd.
It seems like, it looked like Ezra had that. He didn't jump the plateau on purpose. And those guys rode right around him. He's looking down at his front end, so something's going on there. I think Ryan's going to get back around him too. Good recovery by Hughes.
So Hughes's crash was a simple slip out as compared with his bang bang play in the first moto.
Carmichael already out of that corner, pinned, going after Ferry. So Florida and Florida out front again. And I keep saying it, what's the deal with Florida? It used to be if you were from Florida, you couldn't win anything. The only guy I ever think of that win was Kenny Keelan, and it was in Florida that he won. I finished second to him in both motos.
John Dowd ahead of this 3-rider train. He hooked up with a privateer effort with KTM support after the numbers game had him sitting out the Supercross season. Ryan Hughes in 5th. He's a never give up type of guy.
Boy, there's a couple of that. All these guys are fighters, and they're all veterans. You know, of course, we talk about John Dowd being the old man. I don't really like to call him that, but he is.
Well, he holds all the geriatric records in the sport.
Oh, all right. And then, sorry, you got me there. Well, you got John Dowd back there. He's
35.
He's getting up there, and John Dowd, and Ryan Hughes back there. These guys have all been around a long time. A lot of experience. Look at that.
Oh, good experience move on LaRocco from John Dowd. Trouble in the pits, Davey?
Take a look down here in the mechanics area. Ezra Lusk is pulled into the pits. Ezra off to a good start. They're looking at the front brake thing. Ironically, this is the exact same. Oh, you saw it burn Mike Oster's hands. This is the exact same thing that happened to Tim Ferry last week at Redbud. He had to pull off in the second moto with a broken front brake assembly. You can see them trying to get it off. It looks like his front wheel is locked.
Yeah, I thought something was wrong. Ezra kept looking down, and he slowed down, and this is a mess for Gosler. He's burned his hand already. And by the time they figure this out, he may drop outside the top 20 and might not be able to work his way in and get any points at all. So this may all be for naught.
Still out there with a good battle. Ryan Hughes takes John Dowd, number 16, and Mike LaRocco now makes Dowd a Honda sandwich. Well, not for long.
Pretty impressed with the way Hughes has come back. That first moto, he had a bad crash, sat there a long time, looked like he was going to pull out of it. Watch this outside move. Slingshots right around. Catches Dowd by surprise. Dowd's like, where'd he come from? Has to flinch and leave a little room for Rhino to get around. So now Rhino, after going down this moto again, just pushing a little hard in that tough rut before the six-pack, is able to recover and get back in there and keeping pace with the guys out front.
Here comes Mike LaRocco with great timing in that section. And he made it look easy getting around John Dowd.
Dowd knew it too. He went a little bit wide, looked over. He's like, nah, forget it. I'm not going to fight with that guy. But if he can match their pace, learn a little bit, put in a good moto, pick it up a little bit, he should be able to hold off the guys coming up from behind. Looked like maybe Villeman starting to close in on him.
For those of you just tuning in, Ricky Carmichael won the first 250 moto, and Tim Ferry has checked out here in moto number 2. Mike LaRocco tries to move up through the ranks. 15th after the first lap. Kevin Windham has done a great job of moving up through the ranks. While we were away, he now started putting pressure on Ryan Hughes. Here's Windham with the pass. Got to hand it to him.
Beautiful move, too, to be able to get into the inside, still triple through that rhythm section from the inside. Not that many guys able to do that all the time. It's getting slippery there, but Windham's so good on the hard pack. Probably taking advantage of a little bit of the energy spent by Hughes trying to recover from his crashes.
Ricky Carmichael's not that far away from our leader, Tim Ferry, now.
It's unbelievable. He doesn't need to win that for the overall, but he is charging so hard, and you got to hand it to him to be feeling as bad as he is. I said at the beginning of the moto, he doesn't worry about the problems when he's out on the track, but he'll feel it when he's through.
Windham behind Mike LaRocco, and that's Ryan Hughes. Windham is moving up toward near a podium position in the overall.
Well, now Ryan has an opportunity to learn a little bit, get up there with Windham. He passed him towards the end of the moto at Unadilla. Maybe he can do it again here. I don't know. Windham came from pretty far back.
Windham's had a good consistent season, despite only 2 podiums here in the motocross year. There's Sebastian Tortelli making the pass on Roncada. So once again, Tortelli, after crashing early, is coming back with a vengeance.
Oh, you see him hit the face of that jump in those ruts. Started into a nosedive, and that's why it looked like a ski jumper right there. He moved all the way forward, really revved the throttle to try to keep that front end from dropping too much.
Tim Ferry, our leader, trying to hold on as he knows Carmichael's gaining on him.
Watch his timing through here. Triple, no problem. Clean. Triple again. Just doubles the next set so he can triple into the corner, make that berm. He's doing everything right, so he doesn't have to charge real hard as long as his timing is good.
He looks so more patient than he used to be. Here's David Villeman now. Another battle between Frenchmen. Sebastian Tortelli, number 13, Team Honda.
You can see Windham just going off that jump right ahead of him, so Tortelli has matched Windham's pace as they've come through the pack. This is...
Oh, Tortelli doing a great job.
A lot more aggressive than Villeman right now. This is the part of the race, the second moto. You're the most tired you get during the day. Villeman, I think, doesn't have quite the fitness that Tortelli has. starting to pay the price now. Right behind those two Frenchmen, you got another one in Roncada. Those guys running all together.
Let's check in once again with Davey Combs.
Right now, it's pretty obvious that Ricky Carmichael is the most successful 250 rider in motocross. I'm starting to think he might be the luckiest as well for the third week in a row. Carmichael's been the benefactor of some really bad luck from his opponents. Right when Ricky's sick, and we know he's very sick right now, the two main threats to him, Kevin Windham and Sebastian Tortelli, crashed on the first lap. That means Ricky's going to win his third straight national, fifth straight national actually, but third straight by luck. And again, who would have thought this? Ricky Carmichael, once the most inconsistent of riders, now the most consistent of all.
Good point, Davey. With the win today, RC would win his 14th 250 motocross victory, passing Jeff Ward on the Kawasaki all-time 250 list. So he would have both the 125 and 250 motocross titles at Kawasaki.
What record doesn't he have?
Oh, Sebastian Tortelli.
Well, this doesn't look good. He's out of it.
Well, a referee would call the fight right now.
He doesn't even know what's going on. Oh, I hate this for him, you know. This guy's had so much bad luck. He tries so hard. This isn't a guy that crashes because he doesn't know what he's doing. This is a guy that works as hard as anybody. He's got Jeff Spencer. He's got coaches. He's got everything he needs.
And a great record behind him.
I hate to see it. Just, I can't stand seeing that happen to guys like this.
We'll be back with more action from Troy, Ohio after these words. Welcome back to Troy, Ohio, and it's Tim Ferry who's redeeming himself from a real tough 31st place in the first moto. He's leading, but Carmichael has really picked up the action, chipping away the time of Tim Ferry.
It looked like he went to pull a tearaway a while back. That thing's flapping. You can hear it too. It distracts you a little bit. He's going to have to find a point to reach up, get that thing loose.
And Sebastian Tortelli recovering on the sideline with the medics.
That's his wife just leaning in there.
Jeff Stanton also leading in. Boy, is it possible to try too hard? This guy.
Well, I don't want to kick a man when he's down, but you know, he and Ezra both. They work hard. They want it. They're fast. They got the talent. They got the bike. I think. You know, I mean, a lot of guys on Hondas are crashing. I don't know if that's something there, but yeah, I feel bad for him. After that scene at Redbud where he's trying to push the bike up over the finish line and some bad luck. You know, the rest of it he's brought on himself, but here he was just trying to recover from it. You know, he got together with Windham. And he's trying to make up for lost time, and I think he was trying too hard. You sure don't like to see stuff like that happen.
Tim Ferry is on his way to winning another moto. This would be the second consecutive race that Tim Ferry has picked up a moto win. His first two of his 250 career, incidentally.
Well, we know the guy can ride that four-stroke indoors. Salt Lake is when he really sprung to life after a string of fifth places. Now he's got it going on outdoors.
The checkers for Ferry. Carmichael in second place.
He doesn't look happy about this moto either. Seems in a hurry to get out of there. Leaning forward. I don't think he's feeling good, Art. He gave it everything he had.
He ups his points lead once again, gaining about 9 points with his 5th consecutive victory. No one has won 6 consecutive events in 2 consecutive years. Ferry, Carmichael, LaRocco, the top 3. Hughes getting off the deck to place in 4th. Davies with Mike LaRocco.
Mike, that looked like a tough moto out there. Guys falling everywhere, but just the heat had to have been hard.
Yeah, definitely. Not a great start to come from behind on. I know Ricky did that second moto, and he got a pace going earlier than I did, and kind of picked up on it when I went by. But I got too slow on my Abzo Honda that time. But it was a tough race. It was hot. Track was choppy and fast, and not a lot of different stuff out there.
You came up through really well. Do you feel like you can take this into Washougal next week?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been riding pretty good all year. I'm still searching for that wind, and definitely going to put my Doc Martens Honda as far up on that podium as I can get it. I'll give it what I got.
Go get a drink.
Mike LaRocco's best overall finish on the season. A second place behind Ricky Carmichael. Kevin Windham also on the podium. Tim Ferry came back for 8th overall. He's got that win in the second moto. Let's go right back down to Davey Coombs.
Well, Tim, you look a lot happier than you did last time we talked to you.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed after the first moto, but that's the way it goes, and I was kind of used to it, I guess, after Unadilla, but I knew that I had the speed to win, and Carmichael definitely put a lot of pressure on me that time.
You got a moto win last week at Unadilla, and then you broke in the second moto today. It happens just the reverse. How can you tie 2 races together?
I don't really know. I mean, I think, I'm pretty much, there to win overalls, and just, things that I can't help, my team can't help, and my mechanic, nothing that he's doing wrong. It's just, the way it happens, rocks, and, the ruts were a little bit deep that first moto, and just ripped my radiator off. So, there's nothing I can do about it, but hopefully, Washougal's treated Button really well in the past, and we'll go there hopefully and try to win.
Kevin Windham, second in points behind Ricky Carmichael, took a 3rd place in the overall situation today, but Ricky Carmichael gains points. 48 points, that's only 2 points shy of a 2-moto lead on Kevin Windham for that championship. Davey Coombs is currently with Kawasaki team manager Bruce Schoenstrom to check out on Ricky's condition. Davey?
I'm down here in the Kawasaki Chevy Trucks pit area with team manager Bruce Schoenstrom. Bruce, what's Ricky's condition?
He spent himself in the first moto. He had to ride really hard with Kevin Windham, put in a great ride, and, he did the best he could to recover for the second moto, but he's, he rode great both motos and gave his heart everything he had.
Was there any doubt that he would ride the second moto after that first race?
No, not at all. He was just trying to, save himself, and, the heat's pretty, it's probably one of the warmest days we've had all year, and I think that, he had to put in so much effort the first moto, as did Kevin and some of the other guys, that it took a lot out of him, and he was trying to save himself and make the best effort for second moto race.
Well, congratulations on 5th straight win for you and Kawasaki.
Thank you.
Guys?
Headed down the home stretch of the season now with Ricky Carmichael in near 2-moto lead as we head to the Cascade Mountain area in the state of Washington. Washougal. And he could become the first rider in American motocross history to win 6 consecutive events in 2 consecutive years. Talk about consistency.
Talk about toughness today. Just terrible stomach cramps, both motos, and he still pulled off the win and padded his points lead.
Ricky's dominance in the 250s is in big contrast to the 125s, where Travis Pastrana's 44-point lead has dwindled in 2 races to only 18. Brown, Langston, and Pastrana each with 5 wins on the season. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.